So, I am newer to laser engraving, as anyone who has seen this channel may know, and in another video, I mentioned that I accidentally bought a massive, absolutely just the god of all lasers, the F1 Ultra. Long story short, I was looking for something portable. Okay, I saw the F1, and I thought the F1 Ultra would just be slightly more powerful. And it turns out it is 2 times bigger, 3 times the height, and much like Thor's hammer, you have to be worthy in order to even pick it up. It is disgustingly beautiful. But my dreams of having a super portable machine were dashed. Dead. For now. Anyway, not always, but for now. But is it worth keeping? Right? Well, it came with a material pack, so I wanted to see kind of what this machine can do today with this material pack. The first thing I wanted to start with is metal business cards. This is by far one of my biggest sellers in the laser space. It's my bread and butter. Okay, and I had an order of 50 I needed to complete before the laser arrived, and to be honest, I'm glad I waited. The F1 Ultra eats these metal business cards for breakfast and is still hungry at lunchtime. It's not even a joke. It's legitimately just crazy. The speed of this thing is what gets me. Coming from a Diode that I do love, it's the fact that the M2 with the settings I use takes like 2.5 minutes maybe to do a single card with good detail. And this thing can eat them up in 30 to 40 seconds per card. Basically, with better detail than the M2, I can do 6 cards in 5 minutes and 2 seconds. And if I tone down the quality, you can actually get one done in about 20 seconds, but I always prefer the quality over the quantity. The next thing that was in this materials pack was some dog collar charms. Look, it's a bone. It's amazing. Okay, they also have some other stuff in there too, like dog tags and stuff, but I went with the green bone for my dog. His name is Cusco, and he was blown away that this thing was able to engrave his name on a little green bone in 4 seconds flat. Seriously, if you ever see him, you should ask him about it. He can't even speak because he's so surprised. The next thing I tried was a necklace. I decided that I would be a good husband, right? And I would make something that my wife would like. Okay, and she really enjoys Harry Potter. So my first thought was to put on a necklace. My first thought to put on a necklace was a word, always, and it came out really good. Maybe not directly centered, but I still have a lot to learn about this stuff on how to frame and centering and stuff with this kind of laser. I'm brand new to this. So on the back, I decided that I would add after all this time, and I would put our wedding date on the bottom. But again, the alignment made it miss the wedding date and it cut it off halfway down. So I went back into Xtool Studio. I changed the design up a little bit. I added some clip art to the bottom right to cover up that date. I added a little flower, and then I put the date at the far left side of the necklace. And it came out great, you know? After all this time, always, or whatever Snape said to Harry Potter. And I finally decided that I wanted to try a challenge coin. Okay, I've seen a lot of people do these online. The material pack came with 2. They are pretty spendy on Amazon, so I wanted to test it here first, and finding out where that emboss setting was in the Xtool Studio was a pain, but eventually I did find it. I got my image I wanted, I let it fire off for an hour, 256 layers, layer after layer, with speed. But again, it seems misaligned, and it didn't come out good enough for me to want to try to polish it or fix it up or anything like that. I'll have to try it again later on. I know I can do it, I just need to have the patience to sit down and actually do it. Now this unit also has a 20-watt diode laser in it as well, so you are not just stuck doing things that are only good for IR fiber. You can still do wood, other things with the diode as well. It's a nice 2-in-1 combo. To test the diode, I took one of my nice wood coasters and I put the Chiefs logo on there. I finally used my brain and was able to manually focus the beam and use that framing button to see where the design was going to go. And wouldn't you know it, if you actually do what you're supposed to do, it just works. That's crazy. Now I use the diode to make myself a coaster, but please, if you are putting copyright material on something, never sell it, okay? Only use it for personal use. This is where creators get into a lot of trouble, okay? We hit that fire button and boom, she was off to the races. Now this is where I will provide a mandatory, oh my God, if you are going to engrave, do it with massive airflow, like in a garage, or vent it out the window to outside. And if you can't, like me, at least make sure you have an air purifier. I didn't turn mine on, and all that smoke gave me an instant headache. But it finished the design pretty dang fast, 1 minute, 29 seconds. Always make sure you're being as safe as you possibly can when it comes to lasers and stuff, man. I know, like, we just don't know what you're breathing in, right? So always make sure you're at least using an air purifier. It's encouraged to do so. This is a 20-watt diode, so I didn't expect there to be that much smoke, but there was, and I didn't prepare accordingly to it, and again, I hurt myself with a headache. So now I love the F1 Ultra, dude. Don't get me wrong. It is wildly expensive though. Even a refurbished unit is $2,700 after taxes. But man, the speed alone is something that just gets my engine going, dude. You know, it's so fun to watch. And now if I don't need to cut something, or if it is something small enough that can fit in the fiber, I just use the F1 Ultra over the M2. The M2 is a fantastic first laser, but once you graduate to something this powerful, it is hard to want to go back and use that other one, right? I'm gonna be starting a series of engraving everyday items to see what works. The first episode, that will be engraving things from Dollar Tree. So get subscribed for potential projects for that, or my amazing personality, whatever you want to subscribe for. I don't necessarily think that the F1 Ultra should be your first laser, but I definitely don't think it should be your last. I think after you kind of get into the space and you're learning and you're getting things done and you're doing things, like for me, it was a lot of people were requesting tumblers and business cards and things like that. So it was a lot easier for me to pull the trigger on something that can just, zap at them instead of taking 3 minutes to do one card on an axis. It kind of all just depends on workflow and what you're trying to do, what you're trying to get out of these machines and devices. If you are trying to start a business, having extra units and extra machines and things that do different workflows isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you're just doing this as a hobby, or you're just doing crafting and stuff like that on the side, you're not making any money from it, then it's a little more of a conscious decision that you're going to have to make. But the F1 Ultra is by far my favorite laser that I have owned. Okay, and I've owned 3, so don't look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about, baby. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the video for today. If you liked it, like it, subscribe to stay up to date on all of my latest content. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.